welcome back to another interesting tutorial. If you've been following, thank you for following this channel, and I'm sure you've been having a nice time. If this is your first time on this channel, you're welcome, and it is my pleasure to let you know that we've been drafting a lot of interesting patterns on this channel. We have the blouse series, we have the trouser series, and we have the skirt series. So the one you're watching now is the blouse series, and we've gone ahead to do a lot of stuffs on the blouse. If you have not seen the previous videos on the blouse series, please do well to check on the other videos. So here we have the skeletal pattern for the basic blouse, the one we've drafted before. So this is the back pattern and this is the front pattern. So what we are doing today is we are drafting the Victorian corset today. That is what we are drafting today, the Victorian corset. And the first thing I would like you to do, if this is your first time or you have not subscribed, is for you to press that subscribe button. Subscribe, press the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of our interesting tutorial. So today, to draft the Victorian corset, this is the back pattern and this is the front pattern. So we are going to work first on the front pattern. So I'm just going to run quickly. I'm going to run through what we have here. So this is the full basic blouse. This is from the top to the bottom, from the top to the upper waist. We have here, that's the neck, the shoulder, the sleeve, the bust line. This is the under bust line. This is the waistline, and this is the hem of the garment. So what we are going to do quickly now is, I have not drafted the dart line, because the Victorian corset is more about the draft, the line, the dart line that we are going to use. So the first thing we will do here is we are going to look for the bust separation for this draft, and the bust separation we are using is 4 inches. So I'm going to mark 4 inches here, and on the bottom here I'm going to mark 4 inches, and I'm going to connect the line together this way. That is for the bust separation from the bust point to the bottom. And then on the waistline, I'm going to take 0.75 on both sides. 0.75 on both sides, and the 0.5 I'm going to connect it to the bust point this way. This one to the bust point. So, but on the bottom part, I will come up by 2 inches. Remember, we don't start our blouse, we don't take the darts from the very bottom. We start from 2 inches above, this way. Okay, so now that that is done, I want us to go back to the upper parts here. So here we have to get our sleeve measurement. The sleeve measurement, remember I told you to measure from your neck depth to wherever you want your sleeve to get to, because we want to create the sweetheart neckline, the one you can see on the thumbnail. We want to create it. So for this draft here, I'm having 6. So from the neckline here all the way to 6. So it means if I draft the sweetheart neckline, it will not be too low at 6. So from that 6, I will come up by 2 inches. So when you measure how deep you want your cleavage to be, you just come up by 2 inches. So coming up by 2 inches on this side too, I will come up by 2 inches because I want to draw a straight line here. Okay, so this straight line is the 2 inches I came up by from the sleeve length there. So on the shoulder line here, I'm going to divide this shoulder line into 2, and this is the midpoint. I'm going to connect that midpoint to the bust point this way. Now On this line here where I have my upper chest line, that is the new upper chest line, the one I just created, I'm going to go in by 0.5 on both sides, 0.5 and 0.5 here, and I'm going to connect that 0.5 again to the bust point. I'm going to connect it this way. So this is the line I'm going to use to create my neckline. So remember I told you that I'm going to come down here to 9 inches. This is where I want the clip line to be. So I'm going to use my curve ruler to curve from that leg this way. Okay. And on this side, I'll just come down by 0.75 because I want it to curve a little bit to the side this way, so that I can have a kind of arc here. I hope you can see that. So that is going to be the neck for the Victorian corset. So on this side here, I'm going to put the difference between my front and my back measurement. The difference between the front and back measurement for this draft is 1.5. So that's where I'm going to have the bust dart. So here, I'm going to take in here the underbust measurement. I'm going to put the underbust measurement here for us to be able to contour this pattern. So the underbust measurement we are using for this pattern is 33. 33 divided by 4 is 8.2. Now I want you to watch this closely. 8.2. Someone asked a question about how to tighten the underbust. So if you watch this video properly, you will understand. The underbust here is 32. 32 divided by 4 will give me 8.2. So from the center here, from the center of the blouse, I'm going to mark 8.2. So here, this is where I have my 8.2 mark. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure what I have left. So what I have left here is 1.5. I'm going to share the 1.5 in between the underbust line. So bear this in mind that the lower value should come to the middle center. So here I'm putting 0.5. 0.5 from the center. I'm putting from that line, I measured 0.5 here on the center point. And then the other one value that I have left, I'm going to put it here. So I have distributed what I have left on both sides here to contour the underbust. So I'm going to come in with my curve and connect this to this line here. Please, when you are making your own draft, please use a pencil. Use a pencil. So I'm going to use it, here this way and here this way. Okay, so you can see that the curve is connected. And then from this line here, I'm going to connect it to the very bottom of the dart that way. And on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. Yes, I hope you can see that. Okay, so now that we've drafted this, I want to, here on the neckline, I want to increase the neck width of this draft. I want to increase it, so I'm going in by 1, and on the neck, the neck depth here, I'm going in by 1. So here I would have 1 and 1 here. So please, it's not compulsory for the Victorian corset to have a yoke. The Victorian corset is actually supposed to be just the lower parts alone. But I'm just doing this in case you want your own Victorian corset to have a yoke. Normally, Victorian corset is just from here, is usually from like off shoulder from here down. So I'm just doing this for those that are interested in adding yoke to theirs. So from the neck here, remember what we usually do, just take off 5 inches there, sorry, 0.5 inches here, so that you don't have any gaping at the neck. So the next thing we're going to do here is, I don't want the bottom part of this blouse to be straight at the hem here. So here I will come up by 1 inch. I'll come up by 1 inch here, and I will curl this line to the dart, the first dart leg, the dart line here, because I don't want it to be straight. Okay, I think okay, I don't want it to be straight, so I'm going to curve it this way. If you want yours to be straight, you can leave it, but I don't want mine to be straight. So the next thing we're going to do now is, I want to create another line here, because the Victorian corset is about fitness on the, especially the waist, the underbust here. We have to create enough channels for us to be able to insert boning. So after this video, if I have enough people requesting that I should put this draft on a fabric, I'm going to put it on a fabric, and I'm going to show you how to insert your boning. So if you want me to put this draft on a fabric, just in the comment section, just put there, put on fabric. And when I see the number of people that are interested, then I'll put it on fabric. So what I'm going to do next is, now I want to create another line here, because you're supposed to put as much that line on your pattern so that you can insert your boning. The boning will help to give the blouse enough structure. As you can see on the thumbnail, it's usually very fitted. So I'm going to divide from this dart line, this middle dart line. I'm going to divide this place. I'm going to divide it into 2. So I have it here. I will divide it into 2, and I'm going to use my ruler here to create, I'm going to use my ruler here to create another line to the bottom, like that. Okay, so when I'm cutting, I'm going to cut out this line, and I'm going to insert the boning. So for this one, let's cut it out and see what we have. But don't forget that you need to close your bust dart here. So I'm going to close the bust dart here. I'm going to open this dart so that I can close the bust dart. So the bust dart is closed. I need to blend the side. So the bust dart is closed, and the side is also closed. So I'm going to get the sellotape to tape the side this way. So the next thing I will do now is to cut it out. So this is what we have for the front. So I'm going to cut out this third line here. So this is what we have for the front. This is what we have for the front. And if you are interested in adding a yoke to your Victorian corset, this is the yoke. But if not, let's just leave this apart, and this is the front pattern. So let's quickly go on to the back pattern now. So now this is the back piece we have. So this is our regular line here. So here, this is where we have the waist. This is where we have the waist. So for the back dart of this pattern, what you are going to do is you are going to measure what you have for the length from here, the width of the waist here, and you divide it into 3. This way, this way. I have divided it into 3 parts. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3 here. And then you will draw the line across. You draw the line up. You draw it to the hem this way. And this one too, you will draw it to the hem this way. So what we are trying to do here is we want to shear the dart. Remember, the dart for the back is supposed to be 0.75 on both sides. 0.75, 0.75. So what we are going to do now is we are going to use just this one line as 0.75 and this one line as 0.75 because we don't want to add to our measurements. I hope you get what I'm saying. So here I'm going to look for the half of 0.75. I'm going to look for the half of 0.75, and whatever I have, I will place here and I will place here. So now this is here. If I measure the two together here, I'm going to have 0.75. I hope you understand what I am doing. So I'm going to roll it. The back here, remember, we usually come down by 1 inch, and on the bottom here by 2. So here I'm going to take it up. I'm going to take it up because I want to eliminate any form of puff at the top here. So for this one too, I'm going to take it all the way down this way. I'm going to take it all the way down. I don't want the bottom to be too sharp. So on this line too, I'm going to distribute the 0.75 on both sides. So that means if I measure what I have here, it's supposed to be 0.75. If I measure what I have here, it's supposed to be 0.75. So I'm going to put it all the way up this way. I'm going to roll it all the way up and all the way down. I hope you understand what I am doing. We have not added to the measurement. Instead of the regular 0.75, 0.75 we usually have for the back dart, I just distributed 0.75 on this side and 0.75 on this side. So if you measure this place and this place, you will still have your 1.5 inches. So for the top here, remember we came down from the neckline here, we came down by 6 inches. So I'm still going to mark the 6 inches here, and here I'm going to roll it the 6 inches, and I'm going to roll it down just the way we did for the front pattern. And here I'm going to come down from the neckline because I want to create just a neck for the back. I'm going to come down by 0.5 so that it will match up with what we have for the back. And I'm going to connect it to this point here. Okay, So on the neckline, I will go in by 1. Remember the front pattern, we went in by 1 on the neckline, so I'm going to go in by 1. And on the back side, yes, on the back side here, now the Victorian corset at the back usually comes with either a loop or a gourmet. But if you want yours to have a zip, this is what you are going to do. From here, where we have the back tightening, you will just measure 1 inch. And that 1 inch is where you are going to attach your zip. But for this draft, I am going to behave as if we are going to add a loop to it. So from this back, I will come in by 2 inches. From this back here, I will come in by 2 inches. And then I will draw the line down. So if you want to add a gourmet to your pattern, this is what you are going to do. And this is where you are going to add your gourmet at the back here. You are going to cut it off and you are going to have your gourmet. I went in here by 0.5 inches. I went in here by 0.5 inches so that I don't start on the same line where I have the gourmet for my back pattern here. So on the neckline here, I can decide to draw a new neckline and join it to this. So all this part here will be, I can add probably a tool, I can add another material, or I can continue. Here can be the new, this place will be the new neckline here. Don't forget to remove the 1/2 inch from the neck to avoid any form of gaping on the neckline. So this one here will be the upper, the upper side, that is the neck design, the upper design, while this one here will be the corset. So if you don't want to have any yoke, this is where your corset is supposed to, the corset is supposed to start from. Draw the line. Make sure if you are having any addition, make sure you draw it up here to touch the line you have up this way. So here you can have your gourmet here. If you want to have a loop, or you want to have a modesty panel, is another design. I'm going to make another video where it is going to be an explanation on how to fix the back loop or the back gourmet. So this one, let's just leave it like this and concentrate on the corset. So on the waist here, remember we went up by 1 inch because I don't want it to be straight. So I will use my ruler to connect to the first dart leg here. So, and that will be all for our back pattern. So right now I'm going to cut it out so that you can see what we have for the back pattern. Okay, so this is what we have. This is the back. This is the back pattern. This is the back pattern for the Victorian corset, and this here is the front. This is the back, and this here is the front pattern. Please write on your pattern so that you don't misplace your pattern. You can write this is right, or you add an arrow to show you where you are to join. You can say this is panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, and here panel 1, panel 2, and panel 3. So what you need to do now is you join each panel together, and here you can have your boning channels and add your boning. You can add your boning and it will come out beautifully well. The front pattern will be on fold. Remember, this is the front pattern here. The front pattern will be on fold, and then you will join these two to it. and then the back pattern too. The back, if you want to have your zip, you can have your zip, and if you want to have your loop or your gomet, you can also do the same thing. So I hope you enjoyed this draft so far. If this is your first time, you have not subscribed, this is the time for you to subscribe, because you are going to gain a lot from this channel and it's going to encourage me to do more. So thank you very much. If you have any question for me, please drop it in the comment section. Thank you so much. I love you and thank you for your time.